Have you ever watched something you love slowly turn into something so far removed from the original thing it was that even the memory of it seems somehow tainted? Not necessarily different, more like something is wearing the corpse of it and walking around. That's how it feels to play Rainbow Six Siege now, or as my friend Cody calls it,
Waiting on Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege.
How do you say that again?
what was once a slow burn tactical shooter quickly devolved into the most unbearable fucking experience. New operators making old operators useless, teammates who would rather kill themselves or each other than actually play, and an ever-changing meta that consistently loops in on itself. But before I start rambling, I need you all to know that I'm not a games journalist. I'm not a reviewer, nor am I someone equally as dumb whose opinions you should take seriously for any amount of time. I'm a guy with a microphone who spouts his dumbass opinions out into a void. Please do not take my opinions to heart. Play the game for yourself and come to a conclusion on your own. If you agree with me, that's great. If not, that's great too. We're not going to agree on everything, and I'd honestly prefer it like that. It's fine. Now, let's talk about Rainbow Six Siege. Or Rainbow Six Siege X? I don't know. Roll the clip. Rainbow Six Siege, or just Siege, is a 5v5 team-based first-person shooter where two teams fight for an objective, usually a bomb, but there's also hostage and secure area. Defenders get a small grace period to set up defenses and place themselves somewhere in the buildings. Attackers, on the other hand, use that same grace period to discover the locations of the objectives, the defenders, and then they can attack. Google claims that it's a tactical FPS, but there's almost no tactics in this game at this point, as it usually devolves into a massive shootout really quick, unless you're playing with a team, and even then, tactics are optional. Released on December 1st, 2015, it was dropped to positive reviews. People enjoyed what it was doing. There were some problems, as all games in the modern era have: server issues, bugs, general user error, but overall, it did great. The game was fun, and it was quickly picked up by a lot of people who fell in love with it, both casual and hardcore gamers alike. It even shot up to Twitch's top 10, maybe even top 5. Not sure, I'll have to check into that later. For a while, it seemed like the game had its future set in stone as a well-respected tactics game, but we've come to learn Ubisoft has a big problem when their pockets aren't being fed constantly. Modern Siege is nothing like old Siege, so let's talk about some bullshit first. Situations were a list of missions that put you into the shoes of one of several Rainbow Six operatives to learn how to play said operators and map layouts, effectively acting as a tutorial of sorts. You were then put on a map littered with terrorists, and you had to fulfill a list of goals to achieve a perfect 3-star ranking. The final mission would have you arrive at a college and eliminate the terrorists. This was removed completely. Instead, now you can play in training mode with or without AI opponents to learn maps and ops. This is fine, as situations weren't really a big aspect to most players at the point it was removed, but it could have been expanded on, but we'll get there in a moment. Terrorist Hunt was a game mode where you and possibly other players played against AI terrorists to achieve a goal. With various difficulties, it allowed for a great deal of learning when it came to players getting new ops. I'd say it was actually better for beginners than the maps with AI operators that we have now, as it forced them to play at a slower pace and really think about tactics, as there were more enemies in the maps than in a normal game. Terrorist Hunt was great, and them getting rid of it to focus more on their esports bullshit is honestly a bit infuriating. While not perfect, Terrorist Hunt provided a great way to play Siege in a way people enjoyed. It's also a classic game mode from several other Tom Clancy games, so it's weird that they took it out in this one. This next one is more of a lore/story removal and not a gameplay one, but it still really annoys me. Those terrorists, the one who assaulted the college in situations, the white masks, they're the ones that you kill in Terrorist Hunt. They've been wiped off screen by Rainbow Six. Yeah, the villains of the game, the sole reason that Rainbow Six is even brought back to existence within the realm of the game, the guys who gassed a college and probably killed a lot of people, they were taken out off-screen by our characters. We don't get to do anything about this, we don't get to build up to it, we're just told they're dead and the terrorist group is disbanded. Yeah, really cool, guys. I love being told we succeeded, but not actually participating in this. It's definitely a shame, too, because the terrorists could have been useful in a lot of different ways. So, back to situations. You know what would have been really cool? If we turned those into story missions. You know how I was just complaining that they killed the terrorists off screen? Well, what would have been really cool is if we were given a new mission every couple of weeks, all the way up to the finale to start like a new season or something. We hunt them down, we do missions, we kill the bad guys, we gain intel, yada yada yada, so on and so forth. And eventually, I don't know, maybe we take down part of the leader's group or something? I don't know. It's a rough concept, but it's something way better than what we ended up just getting. Actually participating would be amazing. Not, yeah, it's done, nice job, Team Rainbow, who wants cake? Hooray! But, what can we expect from Ubisoft anymore? Definitely not good decisions. What's crazier about this is that a new terrorist organization takes over the role of antagonist here, and it's the same deal with them. We're being told that a conflict is happening and that Team Rainbow is fighting, that this new organization, Karis Legion, is led by a former Rainbow operative, a founder actually, and a former character in previous Rainbow games, one who actually joins them in training matches apparently, and he's really putting the pressure on Team Rainbow. Anyway, back to training courses, I guess, guys. The whole tell, don't show thing works well in Dark Souls, but that's because FromSoft has perfected the way they do these things. Ubisoft, on the other hand, keeps shitting the bed and failing to capitalize on something that could be insanely fun to play. But maybe the PvP got better. Honestly, it's a whole different experience. First of all, let's talk about gunplay. It's pretty decent. It's not the best system I've ever played with, but it is enjoyable enough that I don't bounce my controller off the ground in anger. I did have to spend a good amount of time in the firing range to get a grip on things like recoil, but overall I would say the shooting is good. Side note, I'm really glad more games do it, but I want to say it again for any aspiring game devs out there, if you make a first-person shooter, add a shooting range. You may not think so, but your game needs it. If 80 to 90% of the game is shooting, I need a range to practice on. Okay, do you see all these operators? This is 4 times the amount the game initially had, and some of them do basically the same thing, just in different ways. For example, Kaid and Bandit both electrify reinforcements. One uses a battery that you place, the other uses a claw that you throw. Thermite and Ace both open up a wall. Thermite is timed and opens up a good portion, but Ace has a descending order and gives a much larger entry point overall. If you want to get really technical, Hibana can also fill this role, and her gadget is much more precise and versatile, as it's a gun and not a throwable or placeable, and can be used to create a vision spot instead of an entryway. Hell, Maverick can also fill this role by creating a hole with his blowtorch. Then there are ops like Fuse, whose ability doesn't let him go through reinforced walls, however he does have an item specifically made to breach them, which only gives them a small little viewport and not a full-on entryway, but it still does do the job of the others. And that's not all. Wanaya is just a better version of Jaeger. Glaz and Kali are only separated by a thermal scope and raw firepower. And don't even get me started on Thatcher being completely outdated now, because now other ops have his EMP nades. Granted, at a smaller range and they don't destroy the object, they just bring it down, but still. Now, one can't argue that having more options is a good thing. It creates better opportunities, and yes, I will agree with that. Being able to hard breach multiple walls is good. Being able to electrify 8 different reinforcements is nice. But this is supposed to be a tactical shooter, a slow burn cat and mouse game, not let's overwhelm both sides the game. They took the tactic out of tactical. The game isn't slow anymore like it was intended to be, and instead you can go on YouTube and just find a couple hundred people rushing the enemy and winning like it's nothing. There's something to be said about it, and the people who are able to do it. I'll admit it, they definitely have skill, but to be able to pull it off in the first place, it's a little upsetting, I guess. That's not really the word. Annoying. We'll go with that. And the devs aren't helping slow it down at all. Actually, seems like they kind of take a sick pleasure in it. But hey, let's talk about the effect Fortnite has had on Siege. Yep, Fortnite. Like the collabs. You know, Rick and Morty, Payday, Nier, Resident Evil. They went the Call of Duty route, and they tried to make the game quirky, I guess. I don't know what it is about games that used to be so military heavy, so grounded in their identity, suddenly doing a 180 and ooh-wooing it up, but I'm honestly so fucking tired of it. If I had a nickel for every time any military shooter game started adding anime girls and furries, I'd probably have more nickels than I want. That's not to say you can't have these things, it's just annoying seeing every game go down this hole. But hey, you know what else we got from Fortnite? Battle passes. Yep, Ubisoft in their infinite fucking wisdom brought battle passes to the game a good while ago, and they are here to stay, it seems. Why anyone ever thought this was a good fucking idea is beyond me, but with every IP being either forgotten, bombed, or ignored, they have to make their money somehow. The rewards don't ever really seem worth it to me either. They're just underwhelming and a bit stale. But hey, whatever you can fill up your fucking grubby hands with, I guess. But hey, let's keep talking about the actual game. Latency is a bit off. Like most FPS games, when I go around the corner, I'll still die because the enemy doesn't see that I'm around the corner yet. Also, apparently when you peek, the enemy can see you before you can see the enemy. That's just a thing that happens, I guess. When I shoot enemies, it simply doesn't count my shots sometimes. I'll unload into an enemy, see the blood splatter, and then they kill me, and I found out that I barely harmed my opponent, if at all. Visual effects sometimes don't register like they should, like when I get flashbanged and I don't look at it, I still get flashed. Ella's Gersmots sometimes just feel like they're either weakening or just not affecting me at all. Reload stays on my screen after I've loaded my gun. Audio seems to be muffled when it shouldn't. For example, footsteps will sometimes be where there's not an opponent. They'll sometimes be behind me, but I hear the footsteps in front of me. I don't know. It's confusing. There's a lot of just shit about that whole section that I don't have time to talk about. Honestly, the whole game felt a bit stale there for a while, and I guess even Ubisoft noticed when their pockets started getting lighter. So they finally did a 2.0, Siege X, which is now a free-to-play game with a fresh coat of paint. I think. All the same technical problems, glitches, and bugs, but with a semi-fresh coat of paint. They claimed we got new lighting, but from moment to moment I don't notice it, if it's even there at all. It's just a shame that all this nothingness, I guess, that they claim to have put in, came with all the problems that we already had. Frame rate issues for many, stuttering, audio being muffled, as I previously stated. All that, and we still haven't even begun with the cheating problem. They have so many cheaters in this game, it makes Tiger Woods, Judd Law, Bill Clinton, and Tristan Thompson look saintly. Auto locks, wall hacks, and once in a lifetime, auto death. The cheating was so bad at one point that it was estimated at 1 in 6 games had a cheater, and you couldn't play ranked matches without getting DDoSed into oblivion. They haven't fixed this either. Just various forms of band-aids that have accomplished little since they get made obsolete in a few weeks. Their anti-cheat is a joke, so much so that I have more trust in McAfee to protect my PC from viruses. And yet, through it all, I still have fun playing with friends. I'm still enjoying booting it up, grabbing my operators, and usually not performing well, but doing my best nonetheless. Again, it's important to state, as I usually do with videos like these, that this game isn't coming from a place of anger. I loved Siege at one point. It was the only game I played for a long period of my life. I played back to back, season to season, all the way up until Maestro and Alibi. Then it was every other season. Now it's whenever I feel like hating myself. The game isn't really fun anymore, at least not like it used to be. But I am hopeful. Ubisoft has a shit track record. They kill games that don't make them fast cash, and they slowly drain any creativity out of whatever franchises they do keep alive for a while. But I do want them to pull Siege back to a better direction. Siege X is a decent enough first step, but it's going to take several more to be worth anything like it used to be, and I'm betting that they'll go back into their bad habits and dig themselves into a hole so deep they'll have to come out with some dumb shit like, I don't know, Siege Z, but I'm still hopeful. But for now, that's all I have. I've ranted for a while and wasted enough of both of our time, so I'll see you in the next one. Keep in mind, one more time, please, this is out of love, frustration, and want for better. not malice, anger, or hatred like I may come across as. I love the games I talk about, each and every one of them, and I do love Siege to some extent still. That's why it's so annoying to see the devs make the decisions they do, from balancing to changes to retcons. It's sometimes hard to see things that were a part of your life become less than what they could be. Anyways, that's all I have for you today. I know this was just me ranting and it didn't really go anywhere or make any points, but sometimes you just want to talk about things, you know? So, thanks for sticking with me this long. Thanks for listening to an idiot talk about things, and I hope I get to see you guys again in another video maybe. We have a Discord, it's in the channel bio, and I stream every Saturday and Sunday from 10:30 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, if you ever want to show up to one. Finally, thank you all to these people for supporting me. It means a lot to me, and I appreciate you all tons. Have a good night, guys.